Have you ever felt the very ground beneath your feet give way, your inner compass spin wildly astray, and existence, once so predictable, dissolve into a maelstrom of uncertainties? What if this profound, wrenching anguish were, in truth, an imperative from the cosmos, a whisper from Providence, beckoning you to recalibrate your course? Perhaps you are overlooking the auguries that the universe incessantly dispatches. Perhaps, unbeknownst to you, you persist upon paths that destiny has already sealed off. There exists an ancestral wisdom, privy to but a select few, which reveals the intelligence governing the whole never permits its agents to perish on deleterious routes without first issuing crystalline omens of warning. These portents, however, rarely manifest as spectacular visions or profound oniric revelations. More often they emerge as visceral disquietudes, subtle unease, unforeseen impediments, or a gentle, limpid voice resounding within the soul. Recede, press forward. I hold a more elevated purpose for you. Today, we shall unravel the most recondite languages through which life communicates its will. You will comprehend how, in its intrinsic grandeur, it proffers crucial alerts before we become utterly adrift. Its methods are both arcane and potent. It orchestrates circumstances, sways hearts, closes doors, all to safeguard us from trajectories that might otherwise annihilate us. There lies a profound existential philosophy inherent in this truth. To persist on a misaligned path is not merely an error of judgment. It is, fundamentally, an opportunity to experience the gracious redirection of the order that shepherds us. Like the shepherd tending to his flock, the cosmos does not forsake those who earnestly seek virtue, allowing them to drift towards the abyss. It summons, admonishes, recalibrates, and, when requisite, propels us toward transformation for our very salvation. Throughout this discourse, we will collaboratively explore the myriad ways the higher force signals that it is time to turn the page, to relinquish paths that no longer serve our essential purpose. You will learn to decipher these auguries, to discern between the whisper of trepidation and the clarion call of the spirit, and to embrace with unwavering courage the metamorphosis that life proffers to you. Brace yourself. What you are about to uncover today could prove to be the watershed moment between an existence entrapped in the cycle of frustration and a journey toward the fulfillment of the universal designs intended for you. There are keys the universal spirit wishes to bestow upon you at this very moment. Some of them may unlock long stagnant domains of your life, and the penultimate lesson might harbor the precise epiphany the all seeks to grant you. Before we embark on this philosophical immersion, I invite you to inscribe in the comments the phrase, "Peace in conscious action." This simple declaration serves as a vow of faith, of unity with this community of seekers, and of openness to receive what higher wisdom yearns to impart. Many who follow this channel find here a sanctuary. By commenting, liking, and subscribing, you fortify this oasis of discernment, radiating hope to those who are in need of it. Each piece in conscious action you pen is akin to a lit torch, illuminating not only your own path, but also that of countless others who will follow in your wake. Therefore, remain steadfast. Today's study will transcend mere reflection. It will be a direct invitation from existence itself for you to listen, comprehend, and, if necessary, summon the courage to redefine the trajectory of your story. Now open your being, silence the distractions, and embark with me. Life holds something magnificent in store for you, and the moment of revelation could be now. The discernment commences. The resonant discomfort, the disquiet that awakens. Throughout the grand tapestry of existence, a pattern, silent yet irresistible, invariably recurs. Providence propels us into novel trajectories through the crucible of discomfort. This is not a mere trivial annoyance, but a profound existential discord, capable of unsettling the very internal foundations we had hitherto deemed unassailable. Consider the mariner who senses the impending tempest. His disquiet is not panic, but rather an imperative call for reorientation. Analogously, the same holds true for us. When we obstinately persist in navigating a course misaligned with our authentic true north, life frequently shatters its silence, dispatching discomforting circumstances not as punitive measures, but as catalysts for our awakening. The universal intelligence cherishes us to such an extent that it favors our passage through discomfort over witnessing our succumbance to self-destruction. Discomfort serves as a divine lexicon, a spiritual siren that clamors for transformative change. Should you discern today that your current circumstances, your choices, or your overarching trajectory engender an inexplicable disquiet within you, do not disregard it. It may well be the very voice of destiny, summoning you back to your intrinsic essence. The corrective impetus of a superior force frequently manifests through the very discomfort that compels us towards profound metamorphosis. Distinct from mundane suffering, the discomfort emanating from providence is a sacred disquietude, an unease that inherently carries the promise of access to a superior dimension. One might attempt to resist, to anesthetize this inner voice with a multitude of distractions and preoccupations. Yet the summons remains tenacious, and the further one deviates, the more the discomfort intensifies, until no recourse remains but to pause, to listen intently, and to act decisively. This discomfort, in essence, is the prelude to an imminent realignment. What then has been disquieting your very soul? What robs you of your slumber, not from fear, but from an undeniable intuition that something is profoundly misaligned? Do not dismiss it. It stands as the initial augury that your inherent purpose remains unspoiled, merely awaiting the courage required for its full actualization. It is the love of existence itself, in dynamic motion, preparing the fertile ground for the transformation that will salvage and elevate the finest chapter of your narrative. 2. Closed doors, barriers that redirect. We often interpret the closing of doors as a premonition of failure or rejection. Yet in cosmic logic, a door that closes is frequently the clearest and most merciful way in which Providence warns us that the moment has come to cross a new threshold. It is not a lack of capability or a strategic error. It is superior wisdom sealing off paths to redirect us to the place where our highest purpose will be realized. There are paths that, though alluring, do not align with what life has planned for us, and in its wisdom it impedes our progression along them. At times, it is a project that fails to materialize, a connection that does not blossom, an old ideal that suddenly seems to succumb. The closing of these doors causes pain, for it clashes with our expectations, emotions, and limited logic. But this pain, when scrutinized with eyes of discernment, reveals itself as a liberation. No door closed by Providence is mere chance. Every no we receive, every opportunity that slips away, every cycle that abruptly ends, may carry within it divine safeguarding. Discerning that not every closing is a defeat is crucial. Often, it is life sparing you from investing your energy in something that, in the long run, would become a confinement. Nevertheless, the shadow of frustration will attempt to infiltrate. But today, the higher force reminds us, every door closed by a greater design is, in essence, a new direction poised to be revealed. If today you find yourself before insurmountable portals, do not despair. The cosmos does not seal off paths without purpose. It is the architect who guides our steps, who shields us from invisible traps, who foresees that which we cannot discern. Trust. The closing that hurts today is the protection you will celebrate tomorrow. The door that closes is frequently the clearest announcement that this path has ended. Now, follow me to where I have prepared something grand. When an access point closes, do not bow your head in despair. Lift your eyes in resolute faith. It is there that the next journey will be unveiled. And 3. Spiritual pressure, the burden, prompting introspection. There are moments in our journey when, even in the absence of discernible external triggers, we experience a profound spiritual weight, a palpable unease, a deep inner disquiet, as though something were fundamentally askew. This pressure does not stem from mundane anxieties or terrestrial apprehensions. Rather, it is a soulful impression, a direct communication from the universal spirit to our inner being, signaling that it is time to re-evaluate our trajectory. This existential burden is a call to alignment. It is the cosmos recalibrating those who have begun to drift off course. It is the shepherd summoning the lost sheep. It is the father chastening the child before they succumb. Unlike the oppressive and annihilating burden of the world, the pressure emanating from providence is pedagogical. It does indeed prod, but it is a pain that awakens us, that summons us to vigilance, that guides us back to abundant vitality. Introspection is a philosophical practice that attunes us to the impressions imbued within us by a higher intelligence. How often do we disregard these subtle admonitions? How frequently do we attempt to stifle this weight with diversions, relentless toil, or frivolous entertainment? The more we disregard it, the more this pressure intensifies, until a crisis inevitably ensues. Providence is patient yet equally precise. It will not permit a receptive heart to persist on an errant course without dispatching progressively explicit signals. If today your spirit perceives this weight, do not evade it. Pause, contemplate, meditate. Ask of life what needs to be transmuted, relinquished, or realigned. This spiritual pressure may well be the divine alarm that spares you from a trajectory of profounder pain and frustration. Accept the discipline of the cosmos as evidence of its love. Only those cherished by this order are chastened by it. It is time to reverse course, time to adjust the helm. Existence is communicating, and it always manifests first within us, before circumstances clamor around us. 4. The erosion of opportunities, the necessary depletion. One of the most subtle, yet eloquent harbingers that Providence calls us to transmute our path is the progressive depletion of opportunities that once seemed inexhaustible. Doors that readily opened begin to seal shut. Ventures that flowed naturally begin to disintegrate. Alliances that sustained us begin to dissipate. And what seemed secure dissolves like sand between one's fingers. When life seeks to redefine our trajectory, it, in its sovereign wisdom, begins to deplete the provisions of the obsolete path, not out of cruelty, but out of a love that transcends immediate comprehension. It does not wish for us to settle in territories that no longer carry its blessing. The erosion of opportunities can be a blow to the ego. Accustomed to recognition, prosperity, or acceptance, we experience a sense of trepidation as these pillars begin to crumble. But from a spiritual perspective, this withdrawal is a sacred invitation to trust, not in what we possess, but in whom guides us. God permits certain possibilities to perish so that we may be compelled to seek the new land He has already prepared. It is natural to grieve when structures unravel, but it is profoundly spiritual to discern that many of these losses are, in fact, liberation. When you perceive that what once flowed now resists, that invitations wane, that possibilities close off, do not despair. Inquire of the higher self, is it time to recalibrate? Mature faith recognizes that the universal order not only opens portals but also seals them when necessary to fulfill its loftier designs. If today you sense that opportunities are dissolving around you, do not interpret this as failure. See it as a presage that the cosmos is extricating you from paths that would otherwise culminate in dead ends. It has a plan, and every door that closes is one more step to guide you toward the rightful door. Trust the gardener who, by pruning, does not destroy the tree, but prepares its branches to bear more abundant fruit. 5. The desaturation of former pleasure, the emptiness within spurious contentment. When providence seeks to guide us toward a new dimension, it frequently begins by withdrawing the satisfaction that once emanated from environments, activities, or relationships. What once nourished the soul now feels vacuous. What once generated contentment now burdens the heart. And a sense of misalignment, of not belonging, begins to progressively take root. The higher power removes the sweetness from the things that would hold us tethered where we ought no longer remain. It plants within our spirit the perception of dislocation so that we may seek new existential horizons. It is vital to comprehend that this process is intrinsically spiritual. It is not mere human dissatisfaction or an incessant quest for novelty. It is a hallowed unease, orchestrated by the universal spirit to move us in consonance with purpose. When we attempt to prolong what the cosmos has already concluded, what was once a blessing transmutes into a burden. If today you sense that previously agreeable environments now engender discomfort, that relationships which once fulfilled you now deplete you, that projects which once enthused you now exhaust you, perhaps life is telling you, I have something novel, it is time to strike camp. Providence never leaves us discomfited without a sublime purpose. Every discomfort is an invitation to the new, and the new, though daunting, carries within it the promise of a deeper stratum of purpose, fulfillment, and communion with the order that governs us. Do not fear the unease. It is a gift in disguise. It is the prelude to a new season. Accept the call to advance. Trust that if the Supreme Being is withdrawing the pleasure from what once satisfied you, it is because He has for you deeper waters and greener pastures. 6. The epiphany of latent truth, an unveiling toward emancipation. Another potent indicator that Providence calls us to transmute our trajectory is the revelation of truths that previously lay concealed. Abruptly, what once seemed immutable proves fragile. What inspired confidence now exhibits fissures. That which appeared perennial begins to unravel before our very eyes. When life intends to propel us forward, it permits truth to surface. Aspects we tolerated, situations we overlooked, alliances that once seemed secure, begin to reveal their genuine facets. And this process, though frequently arduous, is utterly indispensable. To progress, to evolve, to embrace the novelties existence offers, one must relinquish that which no longer serves its purpose. The cosmos not only unveils this as a spiritual reality, but also as a protective principle for those who yearn to walk in its light. When truths emerge, it is not for our undoing, but for our emancipation. It is the higher power revealing what we need to disentangle, what we need to rectify, what we need to forsake. It is facile to resist these epiphanies. It is tempting to avert one's gaze, feign ignorance, and strive to maintain appearances. Yet those who persist in spurning what life reveals ultimately find themselves ensnared in cycles of pain and stagnation. The spirit of truth is at work, and where truth manifests, there resides authentic liberty. However, this freedom demands courage, the courage to perceive, to accept, and to act. If Providence is illuminating something for you, it is because it has something superior prepared. If it is unveiling hidden truths, it is because it does not wish for you to erect your life upon precarious foundations. An expanded perspective is only attained through obedience to reality. Embrace the truths life presents to you. Do not contend with them. They are the beacon illuminating the path to the new epoch that the Supreme Being has prepared for you. 7. Elevated disquiet. Prayer as a catalyst for change. There are moments in our spiritual journey when prayer, once a fount of serenity and solace, begins to metamorphose into a locus of disquiet. During this period of earnest inquiry, the heart stirs, the mind becomes replete with probing questions, and the spirit finds no customary repose. This spiritual phenomenon is neither a flaw in devotional practice nor a sign of estrangement from the sacred. On the contrary, it is frequently the means by which the universal spirit apprises us that something fundamental requires alteration. This disquiet is not punitive, but rather Providence's summons for us to arise and transmute our trajectory. Life often employs contemplation to reveal that the season has shifted. As we seek, it plants seeds of disquiet that compel us to explore new horizons. This agitation within prayer is an invitation to emerge from one's spiritual comfort zone. It is as if the cosmos whispers to us, "What sustained you thus far is no longer adequate. I wish to guide you to something unprecedented." Many, upon experiencing this sensation, erroneously believe they are praying incorrectly or that the higher power has withdrawn. Yet the truth is that when prayer engenders disquiet, it concurrently generates movement, and movement within the realm of consciousness almost invariably precedes a new mission, a new calling, a new trajectory. When disquiet permeates prayer, it is time to inquire, "Supreme Being, what do you wish to transmute within me? Whither do you now intend to guide me?" It requires fortitude to acknowledge that Providence does not always summon us to remain stagnant. At times it beckons us to depart, to advance, to relinquish the familiar and embrace that which remains unrevealed. Do not elude this disquiet. It is the prelude to revelation. Be attuned to the Spirit's voice amidst the clamor of your soul. It does not awaken this disquiet to confound you, but to align you. Restless prayer is often the final stage before commissioning, before the transformation that will utterly transfigure your journey. 8. The irresistible impulse, the force that propels us toward the new. When Providence decrees its time to transmute our path, it may allow us to be literally propelled out of situations, places, or relationships that no longer serve the higher design for our lives. The environment that once embraced us begins to repel us. The space that was comfortable turns inhospitable. People who once supported us inexplicably withdraw. What seemed unshakable unravels without logical explanation. Rejection, abandonment, and humiliation can paradoxically be the necessary impetus to set us on the path to our destiny. Often we resist life's movement because we are attached to the known, the familiar, the comfortable. Then, in its infinite wisdom, it allows the environment to propel us, not to annihilate us, but to reposition us where it intends to utilize us. There are moments when the higher force seals all windows, locks all portals, and even allows the ground beneath our accustomed feet to crumble, so that we have no option but to move forward. It's easy to interpret this impetus as a harbinger of failure or rejection, but spiritually, it is often existence's greatest act of love toward us. It knows that if we remained where we are, we would never experience the fullness of what it has prepared. Discomfort, rejection, and pressure are not signs of abandonment. They are harbingers of movement. When you feel you are being propelled outward, do not resist. Lift your eyes and inquire, "Providence, where are you leading me?" Nothing that life allows to leave your orbit is essential for the future it has prepared. The sensation of being pushed is, in truth, a divine summons to advance. Accept the movement. Embrace the new. Trust that, although the journey may seem uncertain, the hands that propel you are the same hands that sustain you. The impetus that pains today is the very one that will lead you to your glorious destiny. 9. The synchronicity of signs, the cosmic dance of destiny. There exists an invisible web of events that Providence weaves to guide our steps. Synchronicity manifests as the timely appearance of an individual, the unexpected discovery of a text, a fortuitous encounter that resonates deeply with your internal quest. These are not mere coincidences, but rather orchestrated alignments by the cosmos, subtle validations confirming that you are on the threshold of a significant transition. They are the points that connect, the echoes that respond to one another, forming a legible map for those with the eyes of the soul open. Pay heed to these patterns, to the meaningful coincidences that appear to delineate a larger purpose. They are the invisible hand of destiny, pointing the way, confirming that you are not alone in your journey of recalibration. 10. The unpostponable call, the irrefutable conviction of purpose. The culmination of all omens is the emergence of an unshakable inner conviction, a peremptory summons that resonates through every fiber of your being. It is no longer a doubt, but a profound certainty, a sense of inevitability that transcends logic and emotion. It is the voice of your true self, aligned with the universal will, proclaiming that the moment for change is not an option, but an existential imperative. This is the time to act with courage and stoic determination, for procrastination will only breed further anguish. The unpostponable call is the synthesis of all prior warnings and invitations, the sum total of the wisdom life has offered you. It is the moment to assume responsibility for your own transformation and to take the decisive step towards your authentic destiny. Embrace this inner truth. It is the most faithful guide for your next great journey. If you have reached this point, know that you belong to a select minority. Indeed, few persist to the very last syllable of such a dense message. Few cultivate enough thirst to scrutinize until the final minute what the universal spirit yearns to unveil. But you have persevered. And this is an augury, a sign that there is a singular design reserved for you in the heart of the Order. Today, we have traversed a profound path together. We have addressed the signs, the impressions, the silent stirrings of the higher force in our existence. Every word was sown with rigor. Every reflection was sculpted to touch your soul and awaken your faith in what is to come. Now, to seal this journey, I implore something of you. If you have truly been with me until now with a receptive spirit, engrave in the comments, "I embrace my destiny with stoic courage." This declaration is not merely an attestation that you listened to the end. It is a pledge of commitment. It is a method of affirming to yourself, to the ether, and to providence that you are ready to transcend whatever is necessary to walk in consonance with the higher will. I will make it a point to read each of these comments and discern who among you, beyond merely listening, has decided to act. And now I make a heartfelt appeal. If you are not yet a member of this community, subscribe now. Not for the sake of mere numbers, but because each new membership here is like a stone cast into the river of eternity, generating ripples that reach existences far beyond our capacity to envision. Imagine, in a remote village, a flickering flame amidst the encroaching darkness. Now imagine that instead of protecting and strengthening it, people were to ignore it. The wind would extinguish it. Such are endeavors like this channel. They require your diligent attention, your unwavering support, your active participation. Every like, every comment, every share is fuel for the spiritual fire that keeps this light burning. Do not underestimate your action. It is part of the vast work that the Order is orchestrating. If you are already subscribed, consider yourself a guardian. You are among those who uphold this torch, ensuring other weary travelers find their way. But if you are not yet, reflect, why defer what could be a blessing for countless lives right now? Furthermore, share this video. Do not withhold for yourself what Providence has entrusted to you today. Perhaps a simple share could be the harbinger someone has been imploring for in their meditation. Finally, before I conclude, I ask of you, remain for a few more minutes in introspection. Allow the melody accompanying this video to penetrate your very core. Do not sever this sacred connection. Utilize this moment for gratitude. Give thanks for the deliverance that the higher power is orchestrating, for the new direction about to be revealed, for the doors it will open, and also for those which, in its magnanimous love, it will seal. Praise in silence. Pour out your heart. Feel the subtle presence of the Spirit hovering over you. Do not rush. Haste fragments the thread of the sacred. Remain. Breathe. and allow the peace of being, which transcends all understanding, to completely envelop your essence. May Providence bless you, strengthen you for every new deliberation, and guide you with a steady hand and compassionate heart along the most virtuous path it has already prepared, until our next encounter, where new truths and epiphanies await us. 3. Reflective questions for Stoic discernment. To internalize these teachings and catalyze your own transformation, we propose an exercise in introspection. Delve into these 3 questions with brutal honesty and allow the answers to guide your subsequent actions. Be prepared for the truth, however uncomfortable it may be, for therein lies the power of your liberation. 1. Where am I persisting in that which life itself has already signaled as depleted or misaligned? Reflexome. Pinpoint the areas, relationships, career, beliefs, habits, where you stubbornly cling to a past that no longer resonates with your current purpose. Which doors have repeatedly closed? Which opportunities have dissolved? Acknowledging this persistence is the first step toward liberation. 2. What is the hidden truth that Providence has been trying to unveil to me and which I have resisted seeing? Reflexome. Consider recent epiphanies or resonant discomforts. What does your inner self already know, but your rational mind or emotional attachment refuses to accept? The courage to confront these truths is the foundation for building an authentic future. 3. If virtue and purpose were my sole guides, what would be the first and most audacious action I should take now to realign my trajectory? Reflexome. Detach yourself from external expectations, fears, and conveniences. Based solely on your highest sense of right and wrong and your deepest purpose, what is the inaugural step that calls for your utmost courage and integrity? Do not merely think, but visualize and commit to that first step.